Hundreds of thousands of people saw me fix these butchered joists using an expanding wedge. In the right situation, it's a superb fix, probably the best. But if you use my technique in the wrong place, it does absolutely nothing. I'll show you the one rule that decides whether this repair works brilliantly or fails. A quick recap of the method. The wrecked joist is cleaned up and squared. Then an expanding wedge is glued and tapped into the notch under compression. When it's trimmed and tidied up, the beam is as good as new. The full details of this are shown in my other video. So will this repair work for you? Let me explain with the help of this sponge. Imagine the sponge is your joist, and masking tape on either side are your walls. When the joist is unloaded, everything is straight. The grid is nice and square, and the green line at the top and the red line at the bottom are the same length. When the beam is loaded from above, it deforms and sags until the stresses in the beam balance the loads on the beam. The green line at the top has been squashed and shortened. Those fibres are being compressed. The red line at the bottom is stretched. The fibres here are in tension. Notice that the black line running through the middle hasn't changed in length at all. This is called the neutral axis of the beam, as the fibres here are neither in compression or tension. Almost all the strength and stiffness of the beam comes from the fibres at the top and bottom edges, because they are the ones being stretched and squashed the most. The closer you get to the neutral axis, the less the fibres are doing. That's why you can drill holes through the middle of the beam without altering the strength very much. But take a chunk out of the top or bottom, and you've crippled the beam. This is the principle behind the design of the I-beam. Here, nearly all the material is concentrated along the top and bottom flanges, where it's needed most. So when the plumber hacked a notch out of the top, he didn't just take out a piece of wood. He removed the most important fibres in the whole joist. My sponge will reveal all. Let's take a notch out of the top of it. Now my sponge beam bends very easily, and almost all of the deformation is concentrated at the notch, because this is the weak point. But with my technique, you fill the notch with a wedge. You can feel the difference straight away. I have to push much harder to bend it, so the stiffness is restored and the bending is distributed along the whole beam, instead of being focused at one weak point. Now let's see what happens if the notch is on the bottom. The beam is just as weak as with the notch on top, but this time the notch wants to open. If I try to wedge here, it just falls out, because now the joint is being pulled apart, not pushed together. Now you need to be aware, there are situations when the top of a beam can be in tension, such as cantilevers, or where joists pass over intermediate walls. But in typical floor joists spanning wall to wall, the top fibres are in compression. Yes, in theory, fully fixed in ends could create tension near the supports, but in practice with timber joists there is usually some rotational freedom at the ends, so they behave as simply supported. And here's how to tell which side is in compression. The inside of the bend is compressed, the outside is in tension. Think of a racetrack. The outer lane is longer, stretched. The inside lane is shorter, compressed. So here's the rule. Do not use a wedge to repair a notch in a tensile region of the beam. It does nothing. There you need a repair that can carry tension, such as sistering or properly fixed gussets. However, my expanding wedge technique is a superb fix, probably the best when used on the compressive side of the neutral axis. It's low cost, low disruption and very strong, as it provides direct mechanical resistance to the notch closing, rather than relying on fixings to carry the load. Anyway, I wasted a good sponge there to introduce a bit of basic beam theory, so I hope it helped. Jones the Splinter, signing off. Hwyl fawr.